going live now with YouTube.
Correct.
One more minute. So we're live streaming.
Linda, you don't usually have budget priorities, right?
No, we usually don't.
No, but we do the district needs.
No, I know that, but you might this year.
We might. Well, we're going to discuss it. Actually, we have a quorum, so
Yes, so
let's get the show on the road.
Okay.
Hi, folks. Hi, Dan. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Doug.
Hello.
Big news, Andrew. Very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
hopefully, hopefully we're going back and forth. Hopefully, the bar restriction will be lifted soon too. And who knows, we'll see about the food item, but.
So we are live now, and so take it away, Roberta. Unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Oops. I unmuted and cut video. So the budget committee has met, and we're on a quicker timeline this year because we didn't start in January like we usually do. So we have sent you a comment about budget priorities. We're limiting our budget priorities this year to the 20 top priorities. We're asking each committee to number their priorities in order. You don't usually have priorities, but if you do this year, we're also sending you criteria. The chairs have it, but we will, after next week's steering, every board member will get the material. So the process is in April. We're asking each committee to look at the process and timeline and identify the stakeholders in a plan of how you're going to work with them. In May, each committee needs to start meeting with their stakeholders. In June, the committees will complete the meetings with stakeholders and begin to draft their district needs and budget priorities. Each committee will vote on it at the July meeting. The budget committee will work on it during the off period of August. In September, there will be a public hearing to go over all of the budget items, and the budget and strategy committee will work on pulling together the district needs document. The October full board meeting, not the November meeting this year, but it will be the October meeting that the board will vote on the priorities. Any priority that doesn't make it to the top 20 will go in a letter to the appropriate agency saying these are the priorities of such and such a committee. And then I'm hoping with our new district manager that we'll fix the database so that all of the priorities can go into the database, and then each committee can follow along to see where their priorities and needs have been met or not met. So you have this for next year. This is for the July 22 to June 23 budget year. So you want to sort of plan ahead as to what you think the district needs are right now, but the budget will be for that year. And I thank you all.
Roberta,
Yeah.
all we received was the timeline. Was that all the information was intended to be released at this time?
You got two sheets. You got the timeline and you got this sheet.
I didn't get that one.
You didn't?
Linda, did you get that one?
Yeah, it was underneath the timeline. You got the timeline. That should have been.
It should have been, but it wasn't. It was just a
You know what?
timeline.
I'll resend it.
I appreciate that. Yes.
That's easy. We just wanted to have both, one in writing and one a timeline, just so it would be a little clearer, but I'm glad to resend it.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Roberta?
And I'm available if you need any data. I can help you figure out, what data sites there are that may be helpful to you.
Linda is muted. Linda is muted and trying to talk, I think.
Yes.
You're right. Hey, Roberta, what do you mean when you say stakeholders? That's really good.
So
Thank you. What do you
your
mean?
restaurants, your bars, your local businesses, your,
So you're saying we have to meet with all of them in May?
you don't have to meet with them, but you want to at least have touch base with them. I mean, you meet with them more during the year.
We meet with them all year.
Right. Many committees don't. Many committees don't meet with their stakeholders. So this is generic for everybody. So you guys are, certain committees meet regularly with the appropriate departments, the appropriate agencies, the appropriate users. Some committees don't do any of that. So this is generic for one size fits all. So, if you've been meeting with various organizations, you've been meeting with the different agencies, you're much more proactive than many of the other committees.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, because I always
You get an A+.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so
Yes,
thank you, Roberta.
Thank you.
Roberta.
Okay, so we have our first presenter for 145 West 72nd Street. We have Mr. Lamb and Ms. Mock. So take it away. You may have to mute yourself first. Ms. Mock, you need to mute yourself.
Jackie, you're pulling a Linda. Unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay. And my client, Mr. Richard Lamb is here too. Okay.
Right.
All right. I'm his attorney, and we are applying for the change of class from the wine and beer to the on-premise liquor license. So do you have any questions for us? So,
did you do any deliveries?
Yes, I do.
Is that all with your own delivery people, or did you have third-party vendors?
It's with my own delivery people. I'm also on Postmates and Uber Eats, so I also use the third-party delivery service.
And you do it by bicycle?
Yes.
And are you aware of the bicycle signage requirements for your own delivery people?
Yes.
Okay, great. If you get a chance at some point, send us a picture.
Of their requirements of what they need to wear? What they're currently wearing when they deliver. Yeah, I can provide that. Yes.
Yeah. You can send it to CB7 office CB7. It's office at cb7.org, the address. I'll put it on the chat.
No, yeah, I know.
You got it? Okay, wonderful, good.
Yeah.
Anybody else has questions for this applicant? Okay, so let's take a vote. All those in favor? So we have committee members 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's okay. Josh, are you voting? Okay, so we got 6 in favor at least. And Paul, if you can put your vote on the chat. Okay, so that's 16. So at least 6 in favor. Anybody against or abstaining? Okay, so right now we have a vote for the committee 6000. Non-committee members, I saw Sima voted yes. So that's 1000. So the resolution does passes. And we think
I voted yes, but I didn't raise my hand. You can't see me. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 7.
Thank you.
Great.
thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Stay safe and be healthy, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
And both voted yes on the chat. That's 8000.
Okay, so 8000 and 100 on non-committee. Correct?
Actually, let me rephrase that. 7000 because we have one member missing, and one non-committee member 1000.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Good evening. Bye-bye.
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 Okay, so next is 210 West 94th Street. Mr. Baisan, what can you tell us about your location?
Well, I'm taking over an existing restaurant, so I'm starting from scratch. I am gonna have a taqueria. It's gonna be called Taqueria 8086. So it's a Mexican concept. A lot of healthy dishes. My main focus is to attract what I would call or make this a destination spot. for families, great tacos, a couple of great drinks. So basically that's what I'm trying to build here.
And when do you expect to open?
Well, the way things are going, I'm shooting for Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, good.
Well, like I said, I'm shooting for Cinco de Mayo, but you know how things are right now. So
Right. And now, and will you be planning on deliveries
yes.
on your own or the third party vendors?
Well, right now, I'm gonna use third parties, Uber Eats,
Okay.
DoorDash, all that, yeah.
Great. Anybody else has a question?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the restaurant that was there before?
It's called Whispers.
Whispers?
Yeah.
Okay, and Whispers. That's about, and have you owned any other restaurants? Have you do you have a what?
Well, yeah, actually, I live down the block from this location.
Your
So,
neighborhood, yeah.
so I used to make tacos here back in '94 when it was a deli. It was called Stop Deli One. I used to cook for them, and I've also owned 3 other restaurants.
Oh wow, you've owned 3 other restaurants in the neighborhood.
Well, actually, no, a little further down on 47 and 10th Avenue. That was in the early '90s, but they were like little taco spots.
So this is your first full service restaurant, and and you have a liquor license, and we're all going to be up there all the time. Sounds wonderful.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it is my full restaurant. So and it's kind of meaningful for me because I grew up here. So it's like, and I started working here. So it's like now for me to take over it. I mean, it's something that I'm really happy.
That's a great story. That's great. I'm sorry. Let me just turn this off. Okay. So,
Yeah, somebody has a phone ringing.
yeah, no, it's mine. I got it.
Okay. Okay, so anybody else have a question? So let's take a vote either by raising your hand or by physical hand. All those in favor? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Josh, 5. So that's 5. Paul,
Yes, I'm voting
Jesse
yes.
6, and Josh is 7. That's unanimous. 7000, and non-committee members is 1000.
That's great.
So it is approved. Thank you.
Thank you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Like I said, I'm shooting for Cinco de Mayo. But I will definitely have
Great.
and whatever I could do because I want to be more involved with you guys. So whatever you guys need from me, please. I'll be more than happy to be part of whatever projects you guys have.
Sure. Looking forward to it.
We're actually going to be discussing that later tonight with everybody because there may be a project you will be interested in. So I don't know if you want to, won't discuss it now, but it had to do with a meeting about bike delivery people. So we'll have that discussion a little bit later if you want to stick around.
Okay, well,
Or won't be that long.
I'll definitely come back because I'll finish a couple of things, but I'll definitely join back in.
Okay.
And if you can't make it, Mr. Bazan, you can always look at this on YouTube later. You can cover it if you can't participate later.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have 667 Columbus Avenue. Mr. Bullock. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening.
So tell us about your restaurant.
Okay, so I have existing cafe on 102nd and Broadway. It's called Peaky Barista. It's spelled like
very good.
Yes, he knows it. Yes, thank you. So I, in this crazy time with Corona, like I got opportunity. Maybe it was a little bit kamikaze move, but I was doing well past 2 years almost, and I decided to take advantage of good deals that it's that are out there Upper West Side, and I signed the lease for right across the Trader Joe. It's the place is like 1,000 square feet, and I decided to upgrade my coffee shop with a liquor license. Basically, the concept is going to be the same. The name is going to be the same. And the only thing what I'm providing extra is I want to do like really fun brunches, like Saturday and Sunday. And I think the neighborhood needs that because, there's not a lot of good restaurants there. But
we have your hours of operation.
so hours of operations, usually it would be like Monday to Friday, would be till 7 o'clock. Friday, Friday and Saturday would be probably like maybe 8, 9.
So oops. Yeah, thanks. Oh, wow. Well, you got 12 a.m. here. Hold on.
Yeah. So
You got 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. there every night. That's a little different than 8 o'clock. I mean,
Yeah, so-
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just telling you, this is.
sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So basically, I did 12 because I wanted to leave the bigger gap. So I don't like, if, yeah, I'm building like a long bar, and I'm planning to like, maybe if there is a need for extending hours, I would do that for sure. Maybe like transfer from the coffee shop at 6 o'clock. I was planning to do like a nice pop-up nights for like a cocktail bar, speakeasy bar, because I was a bartender for over 10 years. But that's just in my mind, and that's why I left it till 12 o'clock.
So what kind of food are you serving?
So basically, it's gonna be it's my mom's recipes. She does all the baking, and from Balkan. I'm from Serbia, so any like Balkan dishes, any like for example burek, you probably heard of that, stuff like that. And also I would add more traditional lunches and dinner stuff like avocado toast, tuna toast, eggs, paninis, sandwiches, and stuff like that.
Do you have a menu that you could send us? Have you already prepared it, or are you just getting it ready?
I'm getting it ready, but I have something that I was doing it before. I would just need to update it, but I could do that for sure.
So when we go to full board, we can say the reason why these hours are here, because he'll be serving dinner, he'll be serving lunch, and that's because they're going to want to know.
Yeah, as I said, the plan for now is not to change the concept, because my concept that I have right now is perfectly working, and why change something that is good? And I think people are really like my place, and with a lot of people being out of the city, my regulars came back and they kept me alive. So
let me ask you, let me just get this straight. You're opening up a second unit, or you're closing the one that you currently have and opening and expanding to 1,000 square feet across the street from Trader Joe's?
I'm opening a second location.
So it's a second unit, okay.
Correct, yes.
Great. Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's exciting.
Any questions?
Okay, so let's take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand with a virtual of the, I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Madeline, are you voting? 6. And Paul, Paul are you voting on the chat? And Paul votes yes also. So the vote is 700 in favor and 100 non-committee members.
Wow.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. This is really exciting. You're opening up another restaurant.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward. I'm really excited. It's a dream come true.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
No, just saying congrats.
Okay. Okay, so then next we have 2672 Broadway. Mr. Fox. I'm sorry, hold on, Mr. Billy, you have one more thing to say?
Not can I leave or?
Yes, you can if you want.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Fox, for the purposes of the minutes, what is your title or position?
President.
You're the president.
Fox Lifestyle Hospitality.
Okay.
Sorry, president of what?
Fox Lifestyle Hospitality Group.
Okay, great. That's in your paperwork, right? So we'll pull it off the paperwork. Okay, thank you.
Well, we don't have his email address. Can we get your email?
Yes, we do. Mark, yeah, we do, yeah.
Okay, because I've only got Elka Hoffman here.
Yeah, I know, but we got it afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, so tell us about about your plans for the location. This is where the previous Mexico Festival used to be?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I'm looking to But check a rig in there too, actually. I have an existing concept at 26th and 3rd called Street Taco that has been very successful. Heritage-driven Mexican street food with inspired Mexican art, street art decor. Very fun. We use only small farm producers, and our produce is all from pedigree butchers. We've been open a little over 4 years, very successfully. And I feel that that location at 102nd and Broadway is a wonderful location for a street taco. The girl that runs Street Taco on 26th and 3rd is a girl called Catherine Castillo. I put her bio in the notes I sent earlier. She worked up through the ranks with me, and went into Street Taco as general manager, became an equity partner, and she's gone up to launch and open Street Taco, with me as well, obviously. But she's a tremendous person, and my executive chef is a gentleman called Justin Otterwanger. He's been with me about 7 years now, and he's also an equity stakeholder in the company, and a guy with tremendous talent, humility, and love for what he does. And my beverage person is a similar guy called David Oriena. Just a love for hospitality and a love for his craft. And I feel that I can bring something fun to the neighborhood,
We can always use fun.
It's a good place. I live right there, or a couple blocks away, and it desperately needs it as well. It'll really help brighten up that block, and got to get that scaffolding on, and so.
They promised me.
Looking forward to it.
The word.
Mexican Festival, the volumes they did at one time was terrific. I wish that for you and more. They were very successful for a long time.
When do you think you're going to open, Mr. Fox?
I beg your pardon?
When do you think you'll open, Mark?
I'm looking at late summer. We have a little bit of work to do. We want to make some decorative changes inside, change out the kitchen equipment, and just bring the place up to the level of decor that the place in 26th and 3rd has. There's some exterior work to be done too. So it's a few months, but I'm hoping to be in there late July, early August.
And will you be offering the deliveries also?
We will.
After third-party vendors?
Just third party.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Peter, you're muted.
Trying to get my hands to work. Just wanted to ask you to please send your information to me through info@Columbus Amsterdam Bid, or call my cell. We have a listing for Mexican Festival, which in the Bloomingdale Restaurants.nyc. So we've got 100 odd restaurants that are listed for north of 96th Street. So as you get closer to opening, just keep that in mind, and or send it as you're able to.
Why don't you put that info in the chat so that he can see it clearly?
I sure will. Yes.
You might want to send to Mark. I'm sorry, Peter. You might want to tell Mark your role. So
Yeah, I was just about to announce that. Peter's the executive director of the Columbus Amsterdam Business Improvement District, so you'll be working closely with him.
I focus on Columbus and Amsterdam, but it would be shooting ourselves in the foot not to include Broadway north of 96th Street.
Right.
So we've created Bloomingdale Restaurants.nyc. And
delighted. Thank you very much.
He's a man that is on the street day in, day out, going in and out of every business. It's a commitment. He covers his head, but it's really remarkable. He's a great resource and support of the neighborhood. So
he's a huge advocate of restaurants in the area. And the other thing is that he's got this open streets program that he's actually filling out the paperwork for. So you should be
very good for recommendations. The split pea soup at Zod, Peter. I've been back like 3 times since you mentioned it to me.
Where is that
at? What is it? It's Amsterdam in 107. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, just a really lovely guy that runs it, and I mean, it's just been amazing with the new restaurants that have opened up. So really pleased to have you, Mark. And take a walk around the neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. A lot of
I've been up there,
small
I
shops.
love the place.
So,
Okay,
I like
so
it.
any other questions? So let's take a vote. All those in favor? That's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, Josh Paul wants to know if there's gonna be a mariachi band.
Only if
No
you're
live music
playing an
right now.
instrument.
It's not really. Sorry.
Not part of the application.
Paul, what's your vote?
Oh yeah.
He said yes in the chat.
Oh, yes.
Or was it just
Nestor
yes to mariachi?
Mariachi Band, right. So the vote is 7000 and non-committee members is 1000.
I call this the Magnificent Seven, guys. Okay.
Wonderful. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Great. Guys, thank you very much. Pleasure to talk to you all.
Okay, so what we have now, new business.
New business. You want to start? Or you want me to start?
Well, before we start, anybody else other than Linda and I have a new business to bring up?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't see.
I've seen a lot. What'd you say?
No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear. I've seen a lot of people using, signboards or sandwich boards, whatever you want to call them, out on the street,
Yeah.
on the sidewalks. Are we, what's the deal with that? I thought that was something we were kind of against, or was not in favor of, or it wasn't allowed, or whatever it is. But I've seen tons of them all over the place.
No, it's allowed. The one regulation is it has to be within 3 feet of your property line.
Okay, so now with the property line being the building, not
The
your
building line, yes,
cafe.
the building line, right? Yeah.
They're putting them in front of their sidewalks, in front of their if they have sidewalk cafes, they're putting them there. And so what's happened is we used to report them to the district office because you don't want to sit there and have a fight with a manager.
Right, of course
And
not. Yeah.
you don't have a district office that's kind of following up on it now. So, but we can still report them to the district office and keep tabs.
Okay, but that's just essentially it. We're not,
Right.
Right.
In terms of enforcement, it's a sanitation department purview to enforce those.
Right. Okay. Great.
And
all I need to know.
DFD also, isn't it?
No, they follow their sanitation. Okay, so Linda, why don't you?
Okay, so here's what happened. Monday, Christian and I were invited to participate in a transportation committee meeting about a resolution that we weren't originally sent, but we did get it surreptitiously. That had been proffered by King Coughlin that would ostensibly, fast forward, has to do with it mandated that all bicycle delivery people would have access to bathrooms in all restaurants, and for the restaurants refusing to give them access, they would lose their liquor license. That's ostensibly the resolution. Of course, Christian, Doug's on the transportation committee, Andrew Ridgey and Josh Cohn. We all got there last night and said, you got to be out of your mind. So we pulled the resolution because it was ludicrous and punitive. And it doesn't address issues like, let's face it, a lot of, most restaurants say, sure, come on in, but also we've got issues like contact tracing. With if you let somebody into your restaurant, because the egress, you have to go through the restaurant. If you're a bike delivery person, you have to go through the restaurant. That means that you've got to provide contact tracing information. You've got to have your temperature taken. That's the law. It also means that the restaurant operator is going to be responsible for spending a lot more money on labor because there are more people using bathrooms. And let's face it, most of the restaurants in this neighborhood and most neighborhoods in New York that aren't Olive Gardens have, small one-person bathrooms, not, with stalls and everything, which means that they've got to be cleaned constantly. So there are all sorts of issues because of COVID. The other side of it is these are delivery guys who are contract workers. They're independent contractors working for third-party delivery services that already charge the restaurants for their use. They're going to cost the restaurant more money, but you can't, but we don't have public bathrooms in New York. We're like the only city in the world that doesn't have Cleveland, Ohio has public bathrooms. So that's the issue too. So you don't want to be inhumane. So the question is, what we've presented to transportation is it's not that simple an issue. You don't, you don't shoot the messenger, so to speak. You don't penalize the operators because of problems caused by the city. And we've got to figure out some solutions, some immediate solutions until we can get mayoral administration that will, or city council that will actually provide, actually push through public facilities outside of parks. That starts this conversation.
Also, just to be fair to the city, we have over 8 million residents. And so the population density is higher than most cities. So, if the city is going to make any plans, they have to take that into consideration. Also, as a historical note, this was an issue that at one point in the recent past, Rich Robbins had sent us an article around that talked about this issue, and he had encouraged the chairs of HHS, transportation, and BCI to do some sort of meeting to talk about it. And so to this point, we had not gotten around that. So Ken came with this resolution, and we have decided not to.
We had it tabled at the
right.
We had it tabled at the request of the chair to begin with. But the other side of it is we have been, and we're going to call just let me. We've been asked to lead this discussion, which is correct because it's BCI. But what we're going to do is set up meetings with stakeholders, which is why stakeholders comprising the restaurateurs, comprising Seamless, third-party, providers, et cetera. So then the question is, we want to get this rolling, and we were talking about possibly doing it the week of the 26th, April 26th. So we've got to get a consensus on that. Now I'm going to shut up and leave it to the floor.
Okay, so Andrew, what you want to talk?
I think Madeline had her hand first.
Oh, okay, so go ahead, Madeline.
I was wondering, the third-party delivery service, are they required to have their employees vaccinated, or have they taken a test, or should it be that one of those two things should be done and maybe presented? They have that, the delivery people have it on them if they need be go to the bathroom, use the facilities. It's a controversial thing because I've seen it on the news. People saying, "Oh, you're asking people for a passport," but I'm just putting that out there. Just
as far as we know, there's no government mandate for vaccination yet. So businesses will be doing their own mandate for their own employees, and it is possible that this will lead to some lawsuits because whether it is legal or not for, let's say, an employer to mandate that you be vaccinated before allowing you to, let's say, work at the office. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure that will unfold. Andrew, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I mean, as I said briefly on the call last night, and sorry I had to jump, but I'm very empathetic to the issue. I mean, people are working so hard in very difficult circumstances. They've really been essential workers throughout all of this. And, I know professionally, I said through work, just to be transparent, we had been urging restaurants and bars to make all accommodations to let people use the restroom. With that said, though, I think Linda raises an important point. This issue is much larger than just a restaurant issue. Right. And my concern is more, well, I should say there's specific concerns about the issue related to this, but more big picture is that instead of like the city trying, or our community board trying to address issues that are really impact society as a whole, we kind of like tear off and say, okay, like let's let the restaurants try to address this societal issue. I mean, it's not just third-party delivery workers, but it's the person that delivers bread. It's the, parents now going down the street, with their kids having to go into a place. I mean, you could go on and on, it's the unhoused, there's so many people that need restrooms, and to pass a resolution or even, a law I mean, we're not passing laws, obviously, that would require one segment of the population that doesn't even have a legal relationship with that restaurant to accommodate them. It just seems very kind of contrived, you know, like I think as a community board, we should be advocating for a, you know, citywide or at least in our district, public restroom program.
Yeah.
I mean, that gets to the core of the issue. Why don't we just address the issue at hand and not just try to like do this one side thing because it's in vogue right now?
The problem that they brought up, and I agree with you 1,000%, Andrew, the problem that they're dealing with now is the fact that they don't have that, you know, they don't have access to restrooms right now. And let's face it, Bloomberg tried to, during the Bloomberg administration, they tried to introduce public toilets, and it's met with public furor. So it's how do we address this in the here and now, albeit temporarily.
I mean, I don't know, you know, some places do, you know, and that's why we were saying last night. I mean, I think it's important. We should definitely hear from, you know, kind of restaurant owners, bar owners. But one thing I mentioned last night, it shouldn't be connected to a liquor license. A lot of the limited places that do the highest volume delivery don't even have a liquor license. So this standard wouldn't even apply there. You know, restaurants that have fewer than 20 seats, I believe it is, they're not required to have a public restroom, you know, a customer restroom. So that's another issue. And depending on where the restroom is located, people have to go downstairs. You know, they have the big backpacks that they carry to carry the food.
Right.
All that being said, I think most people, I hope, will try to accommodate people if they have to use the bathroom. But, you know, you have you're on 6 different apps and everyone's coming in, you know, it could be some operational things. And I think there's a heightened concern with COVID, even though, I mean, listen, you're letting other delivery people in, you're letting your employees in, you're letting customers in. So, you know, but there's just that perception. So my effort would just be, I think we should do something, even putting aside this specific delivery worker issue. I would like to see us as a board and whatever appropriate committee it should be in to advocate for a public restroom system in our district.
Wait a minute, could we advocate? I mean, Josh last night made a really eloquent point, and he said that most restaurateurs let everybody in because that's the humane thing to do. But you still, then the restaurant is still liable for the contact tracing and for checking the temperature. That's what they have to do. Am I correct, Josh?
Well, it's my understanding that if someone's just using the bathroom and they're not sitting inside, you just need to take their temperature. You don't have to contact trace them, Andrew. Am I correct in that?
For your customers, but there are a whole bunch of requirements for delivery people.
Well, I would say this, because the way that I look at it is a customer is the same as a person sitting in my outdoor cafe. In other words, how am I differentiating a person who's sitting outside and having a beer or a person who's delivering? Like, to me, this is a very tricky line that we're crossing here, because we're saying, oh, this person's spending money, we just take their temperature and use the bathroom. But as a delivery person, they can't use the bathroom. That to me does not seem like it's okay.
Yeah, but the point is, look, if I go sit outside, and it happens every time I sit in a restaurant, I go inside to use the bathroom because I'm a senior citizen. I use the bathroom a lot.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Then they check my temperature, either here or here, and I have to sign a contact tracing thing.
But you don't need to if you're sitting outside. You only need to if you're inside.
That's the whole. What I'm trying to say is
no, it's not the case. You don't need to contact trace if you're just using the bathroom.
Yeah. And I mean, I think maybe what we could do is, you know, again, it's not, we only have the contact info for people that have come in front of the board. So people that don't have a liquor license or sidewalk cafe in the district, we don't have their contact info, but maybe we could just send something to the contact that we do have, you know, encouraging them to allow people to use the restroom.
I just want to know where this came from. Like, I want to know which restaurants got Ken to get on this thing that this was an issue. Like, I want to know who these people are.
The organization formed, an organization formed earlier on in the pandemic to represent delivery workers. I forget the name offhanded, but it's part of like the Workers Justice Project or something. And they've been doing a lot of advocacy. Kind of, it started, I'm not 100% sure, but to do with a lot of the safety issues for delivery workers. There's been a lot of assaults and robberies recently in East Harlem.
Transportation alternatives. Yeah.
So really representing them, and they were trying to figure out what are the issues. So a lot of their issues tend to be the relationship between the delivery worker and the third party companies about their payment structure and all these other issues. One of the other issues that they had raised is that they're often that's they're not permitted to use the restroom. So one of the things that they're fighting for is basically a law or requirement that they can use the restroom.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that when I've sat outside and gone to use the restroom, not once, I've always had my temperature taken. I've not, for me personally, not once been asked to fill out contact tracing if I was a customer outside. And what I'm getting at is that the restaurants are saying this person's a paying customer. You can read this any way you want. You can read between the lines what I'm trying to say here. This person's a paying customer, no problem, use the bathroom. You're a delivery person, you're not allowed. And that's the way I see it. I think this is so wrong. You got to go, take the temperature, you let them in.
Yeah, take the temperature. I came to look. I had lunch in a Midtown restaurant. I was sitting outside, very beautiful, sitting outside. And when I went in, they took my temperature to use the bathroom because I had to go to the bathroom and it's downstairs. So yeah, it's a large restaurant. I got it. I had no problem with that. And right. And I don't remember. And I filled out the contact tracing. And I went inside. I had to walk through people.
There are some places that have huge volume of delivery, and at any one time they could have 5 to 15 delivery workers outside with their bikes, with their bags, and there's issues. Some of them would claim that people just turn it into like a hangout. They're waiting online. Their own customers don't get to use the restroom. They had, depending on the layout, they have to like go downstairs or in the back, and that
I've seen it. I'm seeing this as something completely different.
Yeah.
Okay, before we continue, Paul asked on the chat, what was the status of this before the virus? I don't know that anyone raised this as an issue before the virus, but any of you heard this?
No, I have not.
Right. Madeline, you wanted to talk?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Madeline. Doug has his hand raised before. Doug, go ahead.
I don't have to say, but I just wanted to mention that one of the reasons, if you're sitting at a party, and Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, the contact tracing applies to one member of the party.
Right.
So if you've already pre-registered and someone stands up, you don't have to sign again.
You don't contact trace for outside seating.
You don't. We were sitting outside, and it was actually my reservation. I had to go to the bathroom, so I had to do the contact tracing. Right. That was all.
But I just wanted to emphasize a point that's already been brought up. One of the things that was tied into this resolution, which I'm glad Ken withdrew or at least tabled, was that it was tied into a liquor license and cafe permits, and it seemed punitive, and it's outside of the of our purview. It's improper. Because if a licensee is behaving badly around the issues of their license, then I think it's germane for us to talk about whether or not they're going to be renewed on the cafe or whatever it is. But to say if you don't let the delivery person in for the bathroom, then we pull your liquor license and we pull your cafe permit. That was egregious, and that was a non-starter from the beginning. But then. Andrew said it very eloquently and very comprehensively. This is a complicated issue. It's a tapestry, and you pull on one thing and it pulls in the other. And I want to hear from all the stakeholders. I don't know that I'm not hearing this on the ground. I hear it's an issue. Okay, so there's some workers have come together and made this an issue. I want to hear from them. I want them to report to us. And I mean, maybe report to us is not the right word. I want to hear from them. I want to hear from the restaurant owners. And I want to hear from the third-party delivery companies, because let me tell you, the third-party delivery companies, they're big, they got a lot of money, and they have not been very accountable to our community. I think, besides their gouging and other issues, I don't think that they're encouraging their own workers to be safe with the way that the delivery people are riding on the street and their manner. because I've had many, many encounters with them, and I support them. I want them to make money. I want them to be safe and healthy, but I want those third-party delivery people to be accountable to our board and our neighborhood, because we have a lot of other problems, and we can just address a lot of them in one fell swoop. And now I'll shut up.
That's great.
Okay. So Madeline, and then Peter, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody thought of this. It's a little weird, but most of the delivery people are men. I don't know if you all seen that movie with Adam Sandler. He tried to go in a restaurant with his little boy. They tried to pee in. The restaurant owner was very nasty to them. They went in another direction of the restaurant and peed in there. So if a delivery person can't go, we are ready. The streets already smells of urine. I have a dog. Dogs do it too. But it's going to get very smelly after a while. So that's another. I know you are all guys. I'm a woman thinking about this.
I'm semen out here, yeah.
And men pull it out anywhere. So that's a big issue you all need to think about as well.
I know some Polish women who squat anywhere.
I object to that characterization.
Well, it's true.
You gotta go scatological.
That's what you have women here for.
Okay, Peter, you had a comment?
A couple of them. One to follow up on Madeline's. 'Cause last night, somebody was making some comments in the chat that about taxi drivers and stuff. And I mean, right now that's happening in the car, into containers, and then getting discarded on the street.
Yes.
I mean, we pick up a dozen bottles, and that doesn't count the stuff that has been emptied already. So just that's one piece that we should all know. I'm not sure if we should really know that, but in any case. But then the other piece is that we have a lot of small restaurants with people that may not be English speakers first, and they don't have the resources to interpret the law sometimes. I mean, the one that comes to mind is Reinu Thai. It's a tiny little place. It's 9 feet wide. She does not have outside seating because she's afraid of having to provide a restroom for people. What's that? I'm sorry.
Extraneous noise. Go.
Oh, okay. Sorry. In any case, but just there's a number of people that are not sure whether they're supposed to provide contact tracing or not. They're not, they've seen regulations, but they have also experienced inspectors that don't interpret those regulations the way they might, or that might not interpret them the way that the previous two inspectors interpreted. I've run into the same thing with the open streets, with inspectors telling me different things every week. So it's just to call down inspectors or city regulations on small operations or restaurants in general is problematic. And I do have, as a third point, I do have a lot of problems with the delivery bikes that are on sidewalks or on or speeding through the open street, or not going not using the bike lane when we don't have open streets, and just weaving in and out of traffic. I can't imagine being a driver. I mean, the drivers I've got problems with also because of the speed, but something needs to be done to get some order amongst the delivery cyclists and the cyclist community in general. I mean, I am a cyclist, and I've fought for bicycle lanes. They make everything safer, but not if they're not used properly.
Right.
So
we have a friend who's been in and out of the hospital for 6 months because he got hit by a delivery guy going the wrong way while he was crossing with the light on 83rd from west to east on 83rd Street. So he got hit from the bike lane because the driver went the wrong way. And because he was a delivery guy, he didn't stop. And this guy laid on the street, and he's in his 70s. He's been in the hospital ever since, and we know all of these stories like this. I think, here's my big question. Why the hell can't the city provide porta potties and clean them?
Actually, before we, go ahead, Peter.
It was tried by the Bryant Park, and they put a lot of money into trying to make it work for about a year or so, and they could not make it work. So just know that that is going to be a problem. I'm not sure what the answer is, but they did do a good effort at trying.
Okay, so Asima, you want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, picking up on something that Doug said, you know, this problem is really brought about by these third-party delivery services, Grubhub and Seamless and all the other ones, Uber Eats, and because before all of those came along, the restaurant would have their delivery people and they would accommodate these issues. And the fact that, you know, on so many levels, these third-party delivery services have, you know, wrecked the business for a lot of these restaurants. Like, it feels like they should bear some of the responsibility for, I mean, these are billion-dollar companies we're talking about, right? Like, they should bear some responsibility of how do you manage your employees? Like, this whole gig economy thing, it can't be like you don't even have a place to go to the bathroom. Like, that's crazy. It's inhuman.
Yeah,
I don't know, how do we get there? I have no idea how we, you know, approach these enormous companies, but it feels like they have to bear some responsibility for actually fixing it.
Actually, I wrote a friendly amendment that we were going to vote last night, which thank goodness we didn't. And I sent it around to the committee, to BCI, I'll send it to you. And really what the suggestion was to have the third-party vendors, third-party delivery services pay restaurants that elect to participate in this, because they're, you know, and pay them, you know, pay them a fee, and how we discern the fee, that's, you know, different, and pay them, because the restaurants, there are probably going to be some insurance issues there, but also they have to pay their labor.
Yeah.
That's part of it. They have to pay extra labor because the bathrooms have to be constantly cleaned because of COVID. They're going to have to pay to, like, you know, get people, you know, if the bathrooms, if the egress, you know, if they have to go through the entire restaurant, they'll have to be their temperatures will have to be monitored. It's not quite that simple as just walking through. So there are a lot of issues there. So I thought, you know, that would be a one solution, because then maybe some restaurants would opt into a program that said, yes, they're going to pay me an extra $3,000 a month or whatever, because I've got to pay my labor to clean the bathrooms 3-4 times, you know, and yeah. So that was one, but I don't know. I'll send you the thing. I don't know if it's worth it, but anyway, the point is everybody available the week of the 26th? Maybe we should send out like a doodle calendar or something like that, or Calendly, or just let us know in this committee when you would be available the week of the 26th, if you would be available, and we can reach out to, yeah, Andrew.
You know, maybe this is more of a philosophical question about the board. I know we're supposed to address issues within our district, but this also seems like something that's very city-wide, and like just addressing it in CB7, like doesn't really do anything everywhere else. We don't even have any data. What is the scope? How many places aren't letting people do in the district? I am a little concerned about like opening up this huge, massive conversation that has more citywide political implications, operational considerations, where like, what are we necessarily going to do as a community board? I mean, the fact is people need restrooms. People doing this work need restrooms. I think Sima was spot on. You have these billion-dollar companies that have, you know, created this issue in part because of their service, and they should have some role in this. I just question, like, what are we really seeking to do here?
Okay, Andrew, can I answer that very quickly?
Is it the intent through the community board to do a resolution calling on the city council to do something? Is it the intent to create some standard in which we as a board vote one way or the other based on whether a restaurant provides the restroom to non-employees? Is it, and then what happens to all of those non-liquor license and non-sidewalk cafe places that come in front of us that do a huge volume of delivery where this may be more of an issue? So
Okay, I actually have a response to this too.
Yes.
Thanks, Andrew. We've got a transportation committee that, really kind of under the auspices of TA, and they're going to push for this no matter what. I think it's really, I think it's incumbent upon the BCI committee to start a dialogue, and the dialogue can become a more, more citywide. But the folks on this committee are mostly business owners and are mostly people who kind of walk the walk. And so I think if we started a conversation, I would like to see Seamless or Uber Eats and see what they have to say. Maybe they will be the ones who will offer to do a potty, a porta potty program, and they will be responsible to clean it, for cleaning it.
I would just say that, just like one would say that a restaurant is discriminating against a third-party delivery person by not letting them use the restroom. I think us doing anything that's directed directly at restaurants discriminates against one industry. What about taxi drivers? What about all of these other people? Why are we even getting involved in this? We should.
Andrew, if I may, as Linda was saying, you're correct on what you're saying, and unfortunately, because there's other members of our community board that want to have a conversation about this, I think it behooves us now to lead it and get facts from all the different stakeholders. And I will expect that if we do anything at all, it will be some sort of resolution directed towards the city council.
Maybe we put it in our district needs statement. I don't know.
Exactly. But as you said, we wouldn't direct it to, let's say, just restaurants. It's just that it can start that way, but that is obviously the wrong focus.
And so we started bringing
and as with other community boards, some community, you're correct. This is a citywide issue. We can address it as like within community board 7, but recognize that this is a citywide issue. And what happens many times is that then the other community boards pick it up and they start doing also the same type of resolutions.
I would certainly I hear both of you and I get it. And I'm of course happy to have the conversation, but like, frankly, this is not a transportation issue. What does,
exactly,
it just seems like it's something that's being concocted. Like I said, it's a real issue. I get it. I'm just
trying out the bag, Andrew.
I'd like to say something. It is not as much a transportation issue, although there may be some. But we are also supposed to be responsive to the community. And I personally, and many members of the community, and many members of the board have brought up the unsafe practices of vehicles, delivery workers and non-delivery workers. I'm not trying to point out any industry, but we have the wild, wild west in our neighborhood. And it has been brought up. I've personally brought it up at the transportation committee. I'm a member of the committee. Why did this issue come up before that? Or why isn't it not coming up at the same time? So if we are going to have the third-party delivery companies come to our full board or several or joint committee, there are a lot of issues around the third-party delivery workers that I'd like to see. And by the way, I don't know, are they treating their workers fairly? Are they setting them up for safety? Are they setting them up for danger? Are they providing safety equipment? Are they providing them training? And so, we got to be in touch here. And I just think it was so imbalanced last night that
I thought we did pretty well, Doug.
I think we did well because this ridiculous resolution was withdrawn because we spoke
Doug,
about, yeah.
Great point, Doug. And I'll tell you what it is. And I'll say it. Transportation's got an agenda with everything. And that's really what it boils down to.
Yep.
There's no other way to spell it. That's just a fact. Whatever their agenda is, it's something unknown to me. Maybe someone could clue me in here, but they have an agenda. And that's fine. But that's really my feeling.
Yeah. And I would just say also, like, I'm sorry, I keep jumping in, but, I'm a big transit advocate, bike lane. I'm a big supporter of all of this stuff. But frankly, if we're having a conversation about people not riding their bikes, about people using a restroom at a business, that is the territory of BCI.
Which is why we pulled it out of transportation last time we brought it into BCI.
Yeah.
We brought it into BCI.
No, I know. That's good. But now to go back and do a whole transportation thing, like, why are they?
Well, no, they want to do a joint. It was what was discussed yesterday after you left the meeting was that there may be a committee meeting with Health and Human Services and Business Consumer Issues and Transportation.
So I told them they can come and listen.
Got it.
And none of them have.
Right. No, but you know,
Yeah, and so we all out of last minute like go crazy to get to their meeting, like run out of a meeting to be able to keep doing this, and everyone else scurries. I
well,
don't.
you know,
I'll leave it at that.
just to be fair, this is part of how sometimes this works is that let's say you have an issue that you're interested in, you may write a resolution to address it, and bring it to the committee, and the committee then may discuss it. That's what Ken did with for yesterday. He wrote, he is very passionate about anything having to do with bicycle riders, and he personally felt that this was an affront, so he wrote a resolution, and then the chairs of his committee said, "Sure, we'll run it through," without giving it any thought, let's say.
And Howard was like, well, if we just pull out that last thing about penalizing the restaurants, can we keep it in? And say, no. You throw the whole thing out. Throw the bad water out with that baby. So.
Okay, so let me recognize Erica Gerson, who wants to speak, and then Peter after that.
I feel like an insider. You promoted me. It's nice to see you all. And I just want to say it's such a breath of fresh air to be in your committee and hear sane people with logic. I mean, there was a whole side crew applauding you guys last night, and I really don't understand. As you know, I've been sort of involved since the summer, and I just think you guys should feel empowered to do things that make sense and not do things that don't make sense. Like it feels like I've been watching this, and it's like slow motion, watching the community board, and that was just an example last night. And I think what Andrew is saying is also indicative of like, why are we still talking about this in transportation? Like this has nothing to do with that committee. So I feel like a new dawn is coming and has come with new leadership in your chair. And maybe he can take some more decisive actions to steer this, because it's really not even fair to you guys. The amount of time, I'm just blown away by how much time you all put into our community, and to go chasing things down to appease someone when, as you said, this is really going to come down to just getting the attention of city council to talk about whether there's going to be legislation or a more sweeping issue. It really isn't fair to ask you guys to put tens or even more of hours into this. And I think you should feel emboldened to tell transportation that this is not theirs. And I just want to say, I don't know what happens, I guess not behind closed doors, but what used to happen in these meetings. There's a lot of members of the public who don't really understand why our transportation committee functions the way that it does, why people who have such a very specific agenda, who clearly are representing a particular perspective and clearly not representing another perspective, have been allowed to continue to lead and go on these long paths of bikes when there's other issues in the city and other issues in our community, and the vilification. I think you guys know, I'm seeing on your faces. I just think it's time to like clean up the community board and get to the issues that really matter to the community. And you guys put in more than enough hours that you have the right to decide what's reasonable and what's unreasonable to be doing. So I applaud you guys. I really appreciate you standing up for all our small businesses. Josh, I wanted to know what's your restaurant so we can go support it. Are you at a restaurant?
Lots.
Which
The
one?
West Side, it's Jake's Dilemma and the Gin Mill.
Wait, I babysat for one of the co-owners of it like many, many, many years ago.
Possible.
It was you or someone else. That's pretty funny.
It wasn't me. It definitely wasn't me.
It was someone on the east side, but they were the co-owner of all those.
But it's likely if you lived in this neighborhood, I served you a drink at some point.
Not me.
Well,
you probably did. I grew up in the neighborhood. But anyway, just keep going forward and know that you guys have lots of cheerleaders behind you. And this is the sanest meeting that I've heard in many months. So keep going.
Eric,
Thank
do you live in the West 80s? We have the same view.
Yeah, I'm in the new building, but next to Zabar's.
For the record, Erica, can you provide us with your building address?
Oh, I'm at 250 West 81.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm always patronizing Barnes and Nobles now because that's my view. If they go up, I'm in trouble.
Oh, I see. Now I see it because it looks like the Beresford. I've got the Bear. It looks exactly the same. Wow.
No, that's looking north on Broadway.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you for those comments.
Thank you very much.
Peter, you, and then we will do a closing comment by Linda and me.
Okay, I just wanted to make a point about the third-party groups, because it used to be that within transportation, one of their purviews was to make sure that the black car drivers had access to a restroom and a break point. And so that a lot of the car services had to have space for their drivers to take a break or to use the bathroom. And that was required. Now it's not required of any of these apps, these third-party groups. And it just makes it's part of this whole unevenness about both the taxi services and the delivery services that makes me nuts. Anyway.
Peter, what agency had that regulation? What agency? Was that through?
It was, oh, come on.
Department of Labor?
No, it was the Taxi and Limousine Commission required it, if I remember right. Come on, the help. One of the committee members, one of the community board members used to work as a lawyer.
Michelle
Well,
Parker.
Yes,
About
Michelle
right?
Parker. Thank you.
Actually, Michelle represents taxi drivers.
Yes, and you
and
would know that better than I do.
And Audrey Isas used to work for the taxi. She used to work as a judge for the taxi commission also.
They will know better than I. They can better answer any questions, but just wanted to bring that up. Thanks.
Thank you. Linda, you want to have any closing remarks?
But so anyway, so
You muted yourself.
I did. So I want to know if everybody, we've got to get a committee consensus, and do we want to meet in a couple weeks to and invite, maybe start with the third-party vendors and have a discussion with them? I think it starts there because they're the ones who are contracting and there are several issues, but they're the ones who are contracting the bike delivery guys. So maybe we start there and say, have you thought about their needs and what are the plans you're making? And we can start there. And what do you think? What do you think about that idea? And what is your availability? Because I know all of us we're really busy. I get it. I haven't taken a day off in 3 weeks.
Well, I can send a doodle around for the availability specifically for that week if everybody feels comfortable with that.
But that's assuming we can get these third-party deliveries to come.
Yeah. Would it be impossible to get them to come if it's just CB7?
Yeah,
I think we've done it before.
It's a little short notice.
We have seen no growth of what was the Simtress before?
It's when Grubhub went Seamless bought Grubhub.
Seamless, yeah, Seamless came to us at one point, yeah.
Yeah, we do that. Would you guys be up for it? All I'm saying is it's an extra meeting in the month, like we don't have enough, okay? And as Eric is saying, we're schmucks.
Or if you can I just say, like, what is the ask? Just like going back to everyone being busy, like I deal with these companies, these are huge billion-dollar corporations. If anything, we're gonna hound them to send like some community person. Just say what? Like, are we just spinning our wheels like?
No, Andrew, maybe we bring in some media with us this time too. How's that?
Why do you want to politicize?
I agree with you, Andrew. 100%.
I just.
So Judge,
whatever the majority of the committee votes for, I'll support and I will be there. My question is just, these are huge billion-dollar corporations. They're dealing with people being murdered. They're fighting over huge issues of like reclassification of employees from 1099 independent contractors. Like they're dealing this at a city state level. They're dealing with around the world. Like, what is the purpose other than just trying to like fuel the flames? Like,
but then putting up some porta potties shouldn't be a big deal. That's one. And you know what? Seriously, I don't know, but the cat's out of the bag, Andrew. So we can sit there and say, okay, we're not going to do anything, and we're just going to ignore it. And I'm telling you, it's going to go right back into purview of transportation.
You say you say the cat's out of the bag. Where I haven't seen this anywhere. So I'd love to know where everybody's seeing this.
There was an article that was published.
In what publication?
I'll find when I find the email. I send it to you so you can see it.
Send it around. So the New York Times, but the cat's out of the bag in our community.
But I'm just saying, like, if if every quote, every news story, there's like an article and then someone from the board decides to do some random resolution that really isn't connected to the issue, we're supposed to come together and spend additional time bringing all of these different.
Yeah, possibly.
Not necessarily, but we can always vote it down.
And if it's like, listen, if you guys don't want to do it, then we don't do it. All I know is that this thing has legs, and I really think we took this out of transportation last night and brought it into BCI because that's the committee to which it pertains.
What I would prefer to do,
ignore it and say, oh, screw it, but we've got it. They're going to re-pick it up, and it's not going to be good. And so, okay, so it'll be more time wasted in the community board. Most people, half will vote for it to penalize the restaurants. Half will vote against it.
to me, to be fair, would be to have if there's Doug brought up multiple concerns, Linda, you did. Everyone has brought different concerns around delivery, and there's delivery workers' concerns, there's business concerns, there's concerns within pedestrians, there's concerns the delivery workers themselves. Why not just have some sort of co-meeting with transportation about how the future of third-party delivery in New York City, in our
how well
district.
that went last night, Andrew.
What?
You saw how well that went last night.
But why?
We could have that discussion and invite them.
Yeah. I would just say that and I'm sorry, and I'm partly at fault because I feel like I wasn't at the whole meeting last night, so I understand that.
I will tell you this before we proceed with a particular format. We'll discuss it with Stephen because Stephen also has specific ideas about this, and given that he's the chair, he may also want to limit the scope of whatever we do.
Or you know what? Or we can just sit here tonight if there's a consensus and say, okay, we're not going to get involved in this, and it's just anything.
We could do that too.
Try and work it out, and transportation alternatives can take over.
I mean, I feel like this is an important issue that does need to be addressed, but I feel like we ourselves, to Andrew's point, haven't figured out exactly what our ask and sort of concern exactly is, and even some potential options. I think having porta potties on the street is a disastrous idea. Like, we are always complaining about our streetscape. And so having, poorly maintained porta potties is maybe even worse than what we have now. Maybe not, I don't know.
Because it would not only be used by delivery drivers, it'd be used by anybody who wants
people. Yeah, it's a thing that can spiral out of control very quickly without some kind of management. So, which is also to Peter's point about Bryant Park. So I feel like maybe what's needed is a little bit more sort of focused discussion on exactly what are our concerns, what companies or sort of industries or sub-industries do they address, and what are we proposing? Because I think we are not going to get so many bites at this apple, and we need to be sort of very targeted about how we use it.
Well, I think, it's a question of starting a discussion with, everybody's got opinions about this, and there are no easy solutions. And it's not a one-sided issue, and it's not like cruel restaurateurs are not letting delivery bike guys in because they're discriminating. There's so many issues, which is what the implication was last night. I don't know.
If we were to invite Grubhub and these companies, I'd want to ask them. I know because I deal with it all the time, but I want to ask them not just about bathrooms, but I want to say, why are you listing restaurants on your website without their permission? Why are you, charging bogus phone call fees? Like, there's just so many issues here that, I don't think, this is clearly a small business issue, and we should be the ones that are directing that conversation in a way that we think is the most effective and results oriented. So
I agree. Andrew, could you write up a list of all these concerns? Because sure. I think we should. I think that Linda and I will have a conversation with Stephen and so like to talk about what would make more sense instead of a forum.
That would be great.
And then we will communicate that forward, once we talk with him.
And I would love that. And I think in the meantime, I would love, if possible, if people agreed, we could send something to restaurants that we have contact to and say that this is an important issue that's been brought up to us. And we strongly urge you to accommodate delivery workers. I don't want the issue at hand to be lost because it's really important. It just, Anyway.
It's just, I think there are so many issues for the restaurants too. If you've got, like you said, you've got delivery guys coming in within a half an hour of each other, and they all have to use your facilities because you're the one restaurant who will let them in, or whatever. Most restaurants will, but that's just a central place. Then what do you do about your customers? What do you do about cleaning? What do you do about your labor costs? I mean, and what do you do about the liability in case somebody falls and slips in front of a latrine? I mean, it's just, there's so many issues here. There's no simple answer. And, but the only thing that I'm saying to Andrew and Josh is that we didn't bring this up, but it's in our lap. We took it. We took it out of transportation. We brought it here. So we should probably start. I think it's really a discussion that should be taken over by city council. And there are a lot of new folks who are running,
that
mayors. Yeah.
The good thing that happened is it sparked a conversation. And I actually owe Ken a debt of gratitude because he brought this up, and now we're talking about a lot of other things that I think are very important. And yes, the bathrooms are important too. I'm not minimizing that. But the third-party delivery companies are the 800-pound gorilla in this room. Some of the smaller restaurants are suffering, as we all know too well. This is after all, the Business Consumer Issues Committee. And I also am very uncomfortable with the venture capital money that is with these third-party deliveries and the ghost kitchens. Mm-hmm. I am very concerned about that, and Andrew knows a lot more about it than I do, but I am following it pretty carefully, and I'm scared. And I'll tell you, my guess is these companies, the Grubhub and Seamlesses, are going to own the ghost kitchens. They're going to be partners. They're going to be all over the city, and the delivery workers are going to be able to go to bathrooms there because they're going to be ubiquitous. That's my fear. I think the bathroom issue will go away, and the ghost kitchen issue is here, and I'm worried about it. So my point about that is that we can be the Goliath and but they've got the money, and because they have a lot of money, they may have some capital for solutions here. So I think they're a fair target.
Definitely, and Linda was proposing to do that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the thing is, one member of transportation on one of the committee last night said, well, we love the third-party delivery services. They saved the restaurant business over the pandemic.
No, they exploited them. The only thing that happened.
No kidding.
She was being sarcastic.
I was being sarcastic, but that's what she said. And I'm sure there are a lot of folks who believe that too.
Okay, so I want to bring this to a close. We'll, as I said, Linda and I will get together with Steven, and we will provide more information as we make decisions.
And Seema, I'll send you my friendly amendment that we didn't have to use. Thank God, I spent too much time on it. Annie Mandiz and Ellen Shell, you guys were here. Did you want to talk? Did you want to say anything before we say goodnight? Okay.
Cool. My light on.
Hey, Annie.
Hi.
Hey. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Great energy tonight. It was great to see just everything natural and saying it like it is. It's great.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Also, warm welcome to Ellen. Okay, so folks, until we meet again, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. We may be eating.
Thanks, everyone.
We may be
Thank
eating
you.
sooner than we
Be
thought.
safe.
So, and thank you guys.
Be careful out there.
Keep on eating.
Just look both ways when you're crossing the bike lanes. Anyway, have a good evening.
Yeah, have a good evening, everyone.